Yo, what's up guys? Coming at you today with something a little bit different. So today, I thought I'd give myself a little bit of a challenge and try and cook on a budget. So as you can see right in front of me here, we got this wheel with a bunch of numbers on it, dollar amounts. So the point of today's video is I'm gonna spin this wheel, land on a certain dollar amount, and we're gonna try and like put together something delicious that like falls under that dollar amount per serving. So, I don't know, I guess let's give this a spin and see what happens. Okay, $5, that's not too bad. Yeah, so I guess we'll head over to the grocery store. I'll bring you guys along and talk you through my process when we're there. So, let's get going. Alright, so with this low of a budget, I figured Aldi's was probably our best bet. So going in the store, walking around a little bit, I was able to find a few things here that I thought I could turn into something tasty. Was going to do it as less than $5 per serving, but actually we're going to get about 4 servings out of all of this for less than $5 total. Alright guys, just heading out of Aldi's now. Let me show you what we got. Got a little bit of prosciutto, some cream of mushroom soup, some sweet peas, and some penne pasta. Best of all, kept it down to $4.78. Now I am going to be adding stuff while we're cooking here. I'll figure out the cost based on like how much seasoning I use and all that as we go. Got all that stuff at home already though. So let's head on back and get this going. Alright, we're going to start out by boiling some water for our penne pasta. And as always, make sure you salt that pasta water. Not only does it supposedly help speed up the time it takes to boil, but also that little bit of flavor that the salt's going to impose into the pasta makes a huge difference. Don't be afraid to go heavy on the salt here too. Most of that's going to diffuse into the water, so it's actually just going to get dumped down the drain later anyways. You're not actually loading the pasta up with too much. Alright, now that it's boiling, we're just going to go ahead and add our penne, then turn that down a little bit once it gets boiling again. Yeah, it's going to take about 10 minutes to get this done. Moving this over to my other stove so I can keep working on stuff here. Best thing though is taste the penne. You want to cook this till it's al dente. When you think it's about done, grab one pasta noodle, take a bite out of it. If it's a little bit chewy but not like raw, then you know you're there. So now we're going to work on our peas. Now, I drained these in the sink previously, but we are going to add a little bit of water to the pan when we're cooking. I do add too much water here, so I do end up straining them afterwards. If you add a little bit less water, though, you can actually just simmer these until the water itself like steams out of it. Then we're going to throw in about 2 tablespoons of butter. Salt, of course. Then we're going to also throw in some onion powder and garlic powder as well. And finally, a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Then we'll just let these on like a medium-low simmer. Now if you do add less water, like I said, I added too much, you'll cook them until the water's cooked out of them. But taste in mind, they were done well before the water was fully cooked out, so I did have to strain them. Now we're just going to get our cream of mushroom soup going. Now I'm just adding this to the pot, and then I'm going to add some water into it to thin it out. And then we're just going to leave that on like a medium-low heat to just really warm up. You're not cooking it here. So I've got all that moved over onto my other stove to just kind of simmer away while we're working on our prosciutto. Got the pan set to like a medium heat, and we're going to layer the prosciutto in there, only doing 2 pieces at a time. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. And you basically just fry these in the pan until they get a little crispy. There's enough fat in here that you don't necessarily need to add any oil or butter. You can if you want, but then you're probably going to get them a little bit greasy. And now that these are nice and crisped up, we're just going to take these out and set them on a plate separate while we do the rest of them. So now that our cream of mushroom soup is nice and warm, I'm just going to get a little taste of that, see kind of what we're working with. Now, I do want to add a little bit more acidity to this dish overall, so I am using lemon juice. But there is many different options you can take when adding acidity. Lemon juice is just a very cheap additive that was in my fridge and works quite well. Still on the tasting train, we're going to give those peas a taste and see how they turned out. Now, I was getting a lot of notes of like the garlic and the onion from the powder that we added, but it still felt like it was lacking a little bit of something. And usually when that's the case, add salt. Now, you never want your food to taste salty, but adding salt to the right level will just bring out all the other flavors that are already present, and you won't actually taste the salt. It will just elevate the already existing flavors. And that's a lot better. Now, like I said, I do want to raise the acidity a little bit in this entire dish, so I am going to add a little bit of lemon juice to the peas as well. Last but not least, we're just going to cut our prosciutto down into some nice little bite-sized pieces. Now there's some good fat in the prosciutto, and it's just going to add a little bit of a added texture to the entire dish. Without it, you know, it would be kind of a pile of mush. Obviously, the pasta's not mushy, it's cooked al dente, so it's chewy, but I just wanted to get something else in there that, you know, just change that texture around a little bit, so the prosciutto works really well. Now we're basically using our cream of mushroom soup like an Alfredo sauce here, so we're just going to drizzle that over top of the penne. Make sure I've got a nice even covering on all the pasta. Then we're going to go get our peas and sprinkle some of those on top. And as soon as we're done with that, we'll do the same thing with the prosciutto. And to fully finish it off, once that's all together, I am going to squirt just a little bit of lemon juice right over top of everything. Really ties the whole thing together. All in all, pretty well-balanced meal for only $1.25 per plate. Just because you're cooking on a budget doesn't mean you still can't make great tasting food. Gotta make sure there's enough peas and enough prosciutto on there to get a little bit in every bite. And then we get that lemon juice on there, and with that, we're finished. Happy eating.